Yeah, loud and clear. Yep, and now we're live.
Okay. Welcome to our new global media talk show. Today is October 5th, 2025. Today we plan to have our guest Madi Jobate, but unfortunately he couldn't make it. So we're gonna go ahead and discuss the current affairs of the Gambia with my co-host here, Sam Ceesay. Sam, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yep, thank
I'm
you.
your host here, Momodou Sawaneh. Sam, let's go right into it since we don't have much time. But talking about the current affairs, we have seen some latest development from UDP that Talib Bensouda has launched a movement called United for Change. So can we just discuss some little bit, you know, um, on that, and then see what we can make up of that? What does that mean to UDP? How can Talib also become a political figure in the Gambia who potentially could contest for election and then perhaps win. So let's look at both scenario and what are the chances of UDP winning as well. Thank you.
Yep. Well, first, we'll say that since Matty, our guest, could not make it, he had to go to funeral. So we extend our condolence to the family, and may Allah forgive the deceased and grant him Jannatul Firdaus. So with that said, uh, politics is becoming is becoming a chaos in the Gambia. I'll put it that way. There's with Talib coming. I said this here before when the flag bearer thing started. When he applied for the flag bearer position for UDP, I said it here that.
Yeah,
Uh,
you did.
yeah. There's a chance that he could stand on his own. I said it here, and that's exactly what happened. So a lot
Yeah,
of things are unfolding, and now that he's formed a movement, we can look at it in different directions, different perspectives. One is he going to affect or impact UDP? The answer to my analysis is yes. There will be a little bit of impact. I don't think he's going to move a lot of people from UDP because. Um, the majority of UDP followers are diehard UDP. So diehard UDP are not moving anywhere, no matter who comes in. You're not going to get those people to go. So those people will stay with UDP no matter what. However, there are people that are loyalists to what does he call it? To Bensouda as well, that he worked with, and the people within his inner circle will definitely shift. And those are the people that we're seeing that are shifting lately. I mean, it's been on the news. There are people shifting and getting resigning from UDP or resigning from their positions in the UDP, and some are just quitting and then moving on to Talib. But I think. Election is not about one area or one region. Election is about a whole country. It's a national election, and the question is, does Talib have good grounds all over the country? I don't know. I don't believe so, but I don't know. So. Um, this is a move that could go either way. It could go the right way. It could go the wrong way. And if it goes the wrong way, will probably impact his political career, because you really nobody should get yourself into something where you're not going to win, or you don't know if you're going to win or not, and put your name in the hat there. It can really impact people's political career, and we've seen people that got into politics and want to become president, and they get to the flag bearership, or elections, and they get like less than 10%, like 3%, 2%, which sends them a very strong message. And at that point, they will back off and then just quit completely. We've seen people that did that, or they joined the ruling party. So we've seen all kinds of things. Um, it's unfortunate. UDP would have been a very stronger party with Talib in there, with everybody in there. Would be the original UDP, but with the split there, I would say that there are diehard UDP fans. There are loyal believers for UDP that are going to stick with the party, and no matter what, they're going to stay with there with them until election. So the question is, what impact does Talib bring into the whole situation and the whole scenario? Well, it will impact. It definitely will impact because there are people in both UDP and NPP that may follow Talib because there are people in NPP that are not happy with what they've seen. So they may follow Talib, right? And
Yes.
there are people with UDP that are already leaving and then joining Talib. It's a small amount of people compared to the thousands. So they're not even hundreds of people that are leaving or that have left so far. So yeah, it will affect UDP a little bit, but I don't think there will be a tremendous impact on UDP. So that's that part. Now we will is a wait and see game. If Talib is going to join hands with other political parties or other political parties and see if they can form a coalition and then go through primaries and see if they can get a flag bearer. If that happens, that also will bring a different story. Because if you look at it, even though the majority of electorates in the Gambia today are split between UDP and NPP, right? But when you have, for example, I'll put it this way: I think the best way to take any president out of the Gambia at this point is coalition. Coalition, having all parties together. That will be it. That will be the best chance for them to
So,
take a ruling party
so, so,
down,
so
just like they did in
yeah. So,
2016.
yeah, Sam. You mentioned something here. This might affect UDP, but not to a greater extent, because UDP has a grassroots level, and then also it has a structure. Isn't that correct?
That is correct. It will, like I said, it will impact UDP to a minimum because I have not seen thousands of people moving. I've seen not even hundreds. I've heard a few people that were announced that have left. Yes, they may take some people with them, but I don't know that it will have a tremendous impact on UDP.
Okay. So now, what do you think this means to Talib? Is it a good idea, or do you think he's been too hesitant, or probably it's too early for me to make such a move, or is this is the right time?
Yep, it's like I said, it's very important. It's one of those situations where we have to really look at situations and analyze what is happening. There is a lot of people out there. We don't know how it's all going to end up. There are people out there that are looking for um, opportunities to be in any political party, or they could be in any situation. But this is going to be very interesting. 2026 is going to be very interesting, and like I said, I think the most important thing for political parties to do really is to join hands, form a coalition if they want to take the ruling government out.
So
But if they stand on their own, it may
mm,
be difficult.
now, uh, one can say, or Talib can argue that he has been a political force in UDP. Of course, that is no,
Yep.
that is true,
Yep.
and no one can doubt that because we see what he has done.
Yep.
Even though he was running under the banner
Correct. Of
of
UDP.
UDP, and then of
Yes.
course he wouldn't have won any of those elections without UDP. So
Yep.
it's vice versa. His charismatic appeals and his vision for leadership has been recognized, but
Hmm.
it couldn't have been done without Usainu Dabo or the UDP. Now,
Correct.
could it be the notion that Talib hasn't getting the flag bearership, what he tried, and he's been visible on the campaign trail and on the platform, UDP platform, that he
Hmm.
probably the potential person to be a flag bearer. Now that that has all been um, that has all been put aside because the UDP decided to choose Hussein, would it be
Hmm.
fair to Talib to think or to assume that the UDP is not a place for him? Like since all the opportunities were there and they still said they want to go with Dabo. Would it be fair to him to think that way, or
I,
to kind of
yeah,
have
I don't. I don't think it's a matter of there's no place for him. I think
no
if
no
I
place to for him to be a flag bearer? That's
a
what I
flag
mean.
bearer, right? Yes, that's what I mean. And it is they. I think in my mind, if I were him, I'll put myself in his shoes. If I were him, I would have waited one more term, which is this term, this one more election, knowing that we all know Dabo's age may only allow him to run one more time, and if he wins, he may run one term in the office. That's it, right? That's a speculation, not guaranteed. But because of his age, this will be Dabo's last opportunity to run for presidency in 2026. After that, he will be out. So if I were Bensouda, I could have waited, just give him one more chance, let him run because this will be his last chance, and after that, then fight to be there. Fight for that, work with the party, and go through primaries. If you get the normal vote, because of they have the age, so that time is on their hand, on his side. Bensouda has time on his side. Dabo doesn't. So that time factor is what, if I were him, I would look at and say, well, you know what? Let's let him run, since the majority of the people voted for him to run as the flag bearer. Let Dabo run as a flag bearer. Support 100%, be with him after this 2026. And in fact, after he's been elected as a flag bearer, I mean, Dabo being elected as flag bearer, it'll be time for the executive to sit down and say, you know what, we elect Dabo, you tell Dabo that we elect him for the last time. This may be his last time that they're going to select him. And they prefer for him to run the last time. And after that, to step aside. If he wins, fine, he'll be president, probably for one term, for 5 years. Even if he gets to 5 years to one time in office, that'll be enough. That way, his mission will be accomplished 100%. If he doesn't win, then that's it. Then the young ones can step up. You have Bensouda, you have Yankuba Dabo. I mean, you have all of these people in UDP that could, other ones that actually contested for the
So
flag bearer.
in other words, you're saying that Talib should have just waited.
I think he should have waited. I think he should have waited and not jump in the wagon now, because jumping in the wagon now, if he fails to be elected as president, can tarnish his image. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
He will be,
it could be
yeah,
a
his career could be ruined,
okay.
because people will know that he already contested and didn't win. And after 2026, Gambia will change. A lot of people will change their mind about the perspective of the entire election and governance and
So
who to
so
elect.
now what do you think about him not being resigned from the UDP officially and still launching this movement? What do you think about that?
Well, that's inappropriate. I'll put it that way. That's inappropriate. If you're in a party, you're in a party. If you're not there, you open your and decide to form your own party. Well, you're telling them I'm not in there. So what are you waiting for? He should resign. That's I mean,
That's the right
we
thing to do.
yeah,
So
that's the right thing to
why do
do.
you think UDP hasn't taken action against him up to now?
Well, sometimes as a political party, no political party should run people off. You don't drive people away. You want people. So no political party should tell people you're fired. You're out of here. We don't want you. You don't do that, because every single individual has influence on other people. If you send them away, you're sending them away with their people that will impact you. So no political party should really, unless somebody goes through a gross misconduct, someone that does not have a good reputation and has a gross misconduct in the organization or in the party, that you can send away. But other than that, you don't do that. So I think that may be, I don't know. I don't talk to anybody. I don't know. So I think that may be part of the reason they won't send him out. But he should really stand up as a man, knowing that he formed his own party now, or movement, which is going to go to contest for elections. He should get out of UDP. He should
So
completely watch his.
why do you think UDP has let Talib so long, putting his tabloid out there, his pictures on the T-shirt, doing Dunkuluyo and all these things, knowing that he wants this flag bearership, and they haven't said anything or try to control the situation. Why do you think that happened?
Well, you can say sometimes some people may say that they already knew he was going to do that, but a lot of people it was a surprise to a lot of people. So if you look at the average Gambian that is out there outside of KMC, and when Talib goes out and they make T-shirts, they're gonna look at it as he's UDP and he's the mayor of KMC. So he has the right to do that. He could do that. And they could be looking at him from the perspective of UDP. And because of UDP, they are allowing that to happen, right? Because he's a mayor. He has a title. He is an
But
elected mayor.
others are not doing that. So
Well,
there
yes,
are other
yes.
mayors and
Others, that
chairmen.
is right. That is their choice. People can choose to or not to do something like that because everybody has a different way of looking at things. Say Yanks Dabo, for example, may not want to get that far. He may not. That's his decision. He wants to stay with the party, and anything that's party related, they want the party leader to be the one that's on all the flyers, right? And that will be the right thing. But he could use his title also. If you're meeting your own people, especially people that you serve
Mm.
that elected you, you could make your T-shirt and put your name on it to go talk to those people as the people that elected you, and you're representing them in that position. But once you go outside of that position, that's a different story,
So one more thing, I know you have to go.
right?
Why do you think that UDP hasn't managed this situation on time to the point that it become escalated, to the point that it causes this breakthrough or kind of division? Because they knew about this. They knew this was coming. They knew that Talib won flag bearership, and they knew that he had camps and others people have camp. Why couldn't they mitigate the situation? Their leadership, is it that they are not good at management of crisis, or the leadership is not up to the standard of controlling such a task? What was the reason? Why did they allow it, you think, to get to this point?
Well, that is a good question. Unfortunately, I ran out of time. I have to start another call here, but
Yeah. Okay.
like you
Yeah.
said, but I think that is something that's going to be very difficult to answer because the executive talk to themselves there. We don't know what they talk about. I don't know. I'm not in any contact with anybody there, so I don't know. It's a good question to ask. It's really a good question.
I was just saying that maybe you have some thoughts about it because you're not an insider, but I was just
Right,
thinking.
right. Yeah, I'm not an insider that knows what they do, but they could be looking at it from a variety of reasons. One, he's still part of us. He may change his mind. He may be with us. So let's give him a chance. That's one way to do it. And that may be part of the reason why they will hang on to it. But after now announcing that he has formed his own movement,
Mm.
I think they should meet, and they will meet and talk about that part and see if it warrants his resignation or get him out of the party. Send him out. Something
Okay.
like that.
Thank you
Yep.
so much
Yep.
for the time,
Yep.
Sam. I know
Yep.
you have to go to
Yep.
another call.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will
Unfortunately, I'm not.
continue the show for another 10 minutes just to
Yeah.
give
Yeah.
some
Keep
analysis
going.
what we
Yes.
discussed.
You keep going. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You too.
Yeah.
So, what we were discussing is about the current affairs of the Gambia, and again, I had my co-host Sam Ceesay. He has given his views about the situation with this new movement that Talib Bensouda just started. So, just to bring you guys back to what had been happening, we all could tell that Talib has been on this journey to head the UDP. He has invested a lot of time, and also like he's been going to a lot of travelings around the country, and some of the travelings has been echoed within the UDP as Banku Betamo, where it's in the Dabo, the
the flag bearer and then the Secretary General of the party, has said that he had authorized those because of the role of Talib as the organizing secretary. So during those Bankutamo and other things going around the nation, we have also noticed that Talib's tabla and then t-shirts are all over the place. So people tend to believe that this is the guy for flag bearership and leading the party through the next phase. And we have seen some internal friction within the party when Roy Malik Law came and then echoed that there has been camps. There have been camps in UDP, and then is Honorable Hussein Odabo is their leader, and it seems like they want to coup d'etat him. So that has been also complemented by Yankuba Dabo coming at the last phase and then just echoing the same sentiment, saying that he believed that Taliban is camp. They do go to his backyard without telling him and organize things there and events there. So didn't sit well with Yankuba Dabo. And he said that they were the one who's trying to, kind of take over the party. And then if that happens, he was going to find his way out. So these are all things that we all observe. And the chaos has been going on for so long. The question that I asked Sam was that why is it that the internal leadership or the leadership of UDP hasn't really come out and address the issue and make sure that they talk to each other one on one and see where to handle this before we even come down to this. In that situation, they could have talked to Talib and say, "Listen, we want to know what is your final goal here. Are you planning to get this by any means, or if there is no chance of getting this, what will happen?" Just like what young Wadaba said, he would find his way out if Talib was the candidate. So, this should have been discussed as an internal thing, and then perhaps talks would have been made and communication would have been done to make sure that Talib either would have, you know, not contest at all for the flag bearership, and perhaps leave the party if he wants to form his own party. That could have been another option, so that nobody would look at it as a breakthrough or breaking down of the UDP. That could have been another solution. If somebody want to part away, you can't force them to stay. It's just like in a marriage, you can't force anybody to stay if they are not trying to be with you. So in this case, if want to break through because he feel like he want to lead the party, and then the party is still interested to put somebody else, now it is his duty to either accept that situation or to leave. He has all rights to leave and then form his own movement, just like anybody else. And Oceano has all right also to contest the election, no matter what people's thoughts are. So this is just the fact. What is somebody's right is their right. So in this case, if this was managed properly, perhaps we wouldn't come this far. So, but again, it's still not too late. I mean, Talib has formed his movement. He hasn't declared his exit out of EUDP, and that's another thing that people are calling for. Why not come out and say, "I left the party"? You know, in that case, people can be at peace. But again, nobody knows the reason why Talib hasn't done that. So, is the pressure going to be mounting? We know that he announced his movement, and we've seen some folks in the executive level and some, other notable people within the UDP resigning from their position, and then some joining the movement. So we have to wait and see how impactful that would be on UDP, which has the structure in the grassroots level, uh, the grassroots for the as a political party. We have to wait and see. But right now, we can tell how impactful Talib's exit would mean. Now, on the flip side, you can also argue that Talib probably political career is in the verge of been phased out because he has made a move where he wouldn't win solo. Yes, solo winning is not definitely something that anybody can be thinking about in the Gambian politics now. If you want to contest against the incumbent, we have to come in some kind of coalition. So this is what history has taught us, because it has never happened that one party won an election, not through the IEC. It might be something that people would argue that, oh, there are times that the election has been won by Dabo, but again, through the IEC, we haven't seen that. So now what we're trying to say here is that Talib going on solo doesn't mean that Talib will be a flag bearer of any coalition, and we don't even know if he's going to be part of any coalition. So the this is an adventure that is unknown to anyone. Now, the only thing that we know is that Barrow has an opportunity here, but we don't know whether he's going to win or not. Barrow also cannot be dancing, celebrating it, saying that, oh, UDP is divided. Now I'm going for another term, because already Gambians have expressed discontent for President Barrow not going for the third term. And then even international world, I mean, like, everyone is talking about the two-term mandate. For President Barrow to pass that, it's going to be an uphill battle, even if there is nobody, if there is no threat. So this is just how the current affairs is looking like. However, for a political party or a flag bearer to say I had a clean slate to victory, that's also out of the picture, because again, without a solid coalition, nobody would be guaranteed, or nobody would even be given an opportunity, or be given the thought that they will win. So you have Asa Farmans on it the other time, which I don't agree. Like, one party can win this election by getting 33% or something like close to 40%. But how can one party do that? If you have all these parties in the Gambia, we have so many parties. Imagine young guys are jumping into the political area and forming their own party. So there must be some kind of coalition that would make it happen for Gambians for 2026. So Talib is an option. It could be a wild card. What do you mean by wild card? Means there could be some kind of coalition building happening where Talib could be part of, and they make the difference, because he has the ability to tap into MPP, and of course he has relationship with UDP, so he will get some people there. The independent voters, those who don't care to go anywhere other than they don't care to go anywhere other than UDP and MPP. Those two, they don't want to go there. I call them independent voters, because they can either be going to Doi or Mama Kande or other parties. But now Talib could be an option for them, or Isafal. So Talib might even grab from Isafal too. He might grab from there. So everybody should be really worried. You try to safeguard your base, because if you really have one, because Talib coming could appeal to those. So these are the facts. This is not something that we can sugarcoat. This is the fact. Because Talib has this appeal and charisma that many people like his leadership style. So that being said, we have to just be realistic here. So right now, the wind is blowing in the favor of Barrow, of course, and we will wait and see how things unfold. But again, if we want to take Barrow out, some kind of coalition has to be done. Now, UDP also have this ability to make a coalition with any other party, depending on the terms, because usually UDP would say that we are a bigger party. If you really want us to have a coalition, we will lead, because we are a bigger party, and that makes sense, because even if there is any kind of formula to create that the flag bearership under that coalition, it will has to favor UDP. So whether that will be sellable to many other political party out there, that remains to be seen. for UDP to grab as many parties to form a coalition. Again, all the remaining parties can also come together and form a coalition. That's also possible. So we have a lot of possibilities in this election year. It's going to be interesting because again, this is one of the election year that we will have a lot to talk about, and we bring to you, latest information and development that is happening within the country, and then of course we will share our analysis. And then as impartial media, we want to look at everybody's, like what they have within, and then kind of deep down and analyze those. But again, Gambia going to be an interesting, place to follow politics, and of course, we're going to look at every political party, their strength and their weaknesses, and analyze it as we go along. So, welcome Talib to the game with his movement, and Sekou, I believe Sekou Jao or Sekou Saho or someone like that also created a movement as well, and we'll have many more coming along. But again, this is the year that we need to really, really look at what we need to do to change our country, to have a leader that will lead us through, to make sure that we got, Gambia, Gambia explore its full potential in terms of tap into all the resources out there. We have a 70% youth population that need to be tapped into. We have diaspora. Diaspora is a very, very, a big area that need to be tapped into. The talent, the knowledge, the financial support, and all of that. And we have other areas, agriculture, to tap into. Other areas, exports. Look at resources in the country and see which area we can better export, and then of course, so that we can have our currency stabilized, and then for foreign exchange, be in our favor. So Gambia has a lot of areas to develop. It's not all about road infrastructure, elephant project, but it's all about social infrastructure, making sure that our hospitals are well funded, so that we can have medicines, we can have good equipment to treat our patients. We have to make sure that our food been reduced, to affordable prices based on the way people are paid in the country. As we see, the pay rate in the Gambia is very low, very, very low. I mean, like people barely can survive from their salary. These are areas that need to be looked at and evaluated, and perhaps bring the cost of goods down by trying to import goods within our country that we can produce. We have to focus on poultry. If you look at animal poultry and animal husbandry, we need to look at how to be able to create those avenues where we can raise our own animal farms. When it comes to cow, lamb, goats, and all those things, so that we don't have to go to Senegal and import, and bring those animals to sell it at higher prices. So every area has to be looked at, and I'm pretty sure all these candidates would have their agendas. We are just gonna wait to see how they come up with those agendas and deliver them, and then make it sellable to the Gambian people. Gambian people are waiting, and I'm pretty sure this time around they would be able to analyze things not based on tribe, not based on social status, not based on region. They're going to be able to look at these politicians and see who can deliver based on the promises they are given, and then the promise has to be feasible. They have to also sound right, and they have to also tap into the vast majority of the Gambians. You cannot just come and give us empty promise on things that will not work. It has to be something that is like if people can believe in. Like you can, if you say you want to do this kind of things for the country, it has to be believable endeavors that will work and they are feasible. So I just want to leave you up here. I know my co-host Ceesay has to go, and then of course our guest Madi Ceesay wasn't able to make it, but this is an opportunity to have them bring this dialogue to you every Sunday, and I hope everyone watching enjoys it, and then we will come back next week with some of our guests online. So we're gonna revisit some of the issues within the political dynamic of the Gambia. So we thank you all for watching, and put just share your comments, share the show, and then of course we will catch up very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.